So I'm aware that there's a big distinction between being scared and having a social, a perception of a social threat while scared, and then being scared with no perception of a social threat, even perception of social support, commitment, capacity, like not just willingness in the sense of commitment, but the ability to provide relevant interaction in relation to whatever is scaring me. If I'm scared by something, then there's a sense of wanting to withdraw from people out of a social a perceived social threat, and then there may be a sense of attraction in regard to a potential social support, safety in the sense of being scared. Maybe there's safety, so, or a perceived safe haven. So I also notice that when I'm scared and I don't want to be perceived as scared, so I have a social context where I'm in the midst of other people, but I don't want to be perceived as scared, or I want to distract from the fact that I'm scared, then for me one of the coping mechanisms has been to be irritable or annoyed, and I think of that now as it's defensive. I'm actually just pushing people away. You could say passive aggressive. So I'm attempting to set a boundary, and sometimes I do it, better than others. So I can be around other people, but not have them, maybe coming up and touching me when I'm, trying to focus on resolving some issue, or I'm trying to relax and somebody keeps talking to me, or there's a variety of possible triggers for me to then display that defensiveness. So I think of the defensiveness as defending. So what am I defending? I'm defending, my well-being, or my perceived well-being. So I perceive a threat. So that's perceiving a threat is of course related to being scared, but perceiving an immediate threat is what's related to defensiveness, being annoyed. It's, here is something that distracts me from what is a more primary interest, a higher priority. So I've got different priorities, and here's something distracting me, and so I find it annoying. I defend myself from it in the sense of creating distance or boundary, even not necessarily distance, but boundary. So I might be physically, close to someone, but just kind of, putting earphones in, and I'm going to listen to music. That's not defensive per se, but it's definitely kind of an indication of I'm not really receptive to, I'm not as receptive to a conversation if I'm on an airplane and I put, little things in my ears. That's kind of a sign of the person next to me that I don't want to keep talking to them, as casually as I might have been prior to that. I don't expect to talk to them further. It doesn't necessarily mean a boundary, but it can create a an element of comfort in the sense of it's a social withdrawal without being a physical withdrawal. I just put earphones in my earbuds in my ears. So there's a social withdrawing even without there being a physical move at all. So the first thing is being scared, wanting to hide, that I'm scared from other people, and then being defensive or annoyed, and basically mean. Then there's actually even resentment, so contempt, jealousy, all sorts of things are possible. So being mean is, there's two, I guess let's say there's two different kinds of being mean. There's being mean when someone's approaching me, and I'm mean as a way of pushing back. So I'm feeling pushed and I push back. And then there's also where I'm actually initiating something and I'm aggressive and I'm, mean in a originating capacity. I go into a conversation, starting it, I go into an interaction and I'm already mean or irritable or harsh, right? So those are possible patterns of behavior that humans can explore, can experience, and for whatever reason I found it intriguing to kind of set those things out to be able to respect the various variations.